Well, hello there, and welcome back. So the more I learn about containers, the more I realize I haven't been fair to them. So um, I definitely want to try and use them more in my lab environments, but I am not going to push them heavily. So let's talk about it. Anyway, so Docker or Linux Podman. And there's other options. So these are all containerization options. And there are differences. So, for example, Docker is a server client architecture, Podman's not, it's user based. Um, so there are great things that you can do with a container. The portability is one of the portability and the size. You can do things with Docker um, in, in some ways easier than some of the virtualization in the past, like VMware, um, because you can have it more portable. You can have it smaller because you don't include everything. So why don't we use it more in labs then, in either in home labs or in the educational? So I think that it definitely has its place, and it can. One of the challenges that I see with Docker, which is less so than VM, something like a Type 1, Type 2 hypervisor, um, is it still uses resources. Depending on what you're running, a significant amount of resources. So it's less than if you're running the entire OS and your application, but it's still using resources. Um, so do does the learner have the extra resources on their system that need to be consumed by to be able to run the container? So it's a step in the right direction. I do think there are definitely some use cases I'm going to start to use it more. Um, it's There's some things I really like about it. I just don't think it is the best due to, especially thinking of a higher education environment. Um, you can run some Docker containers on a Chromebook, for example, but you're not going to be able to run a decent number. You're going to be constrained resource wise. Um, do we want to require uh, more resources on a learner's device so that they can do this? Yeah, maybe. Um, or maybe we just look at other options. Um, Docker definitely has its place. It's great for playing with things as an individual, um, especially if you don't want to have to pay for the cloud. Um, so if you're working on your own, I would definitely suggest using Docker. You don't have to worry about the licenses for additional operating systems that you spin up on your in your virtual environment because you're not running the OS. You're only running the applications. Um, you don't have to worry about too many resources being consumed by the OS. It's just the application and its dependencies. Um, there's huge benefits here. The portability of a container, that's great. I think there are ways to do them securely. I think the industry and education needs to make sure we're helping people do it securely. Um, but I think there is definitely uh, my hate for containers is lessening. Um, I will maybe even eventually make some videos on doing containers. I've been enjoying the little bit I've been playing with them. Um, but I think we're going to go a different route uh, mostly. So, and if you're familiar with my channel, you know what I like and use. And the next video will help solidify that, and we're going to keep growing from there. So, but containers, they definitely have their use cases. It's, I think, a better direction for many things than going with a hypervisor. There are some things that won't run well though in a container still, and it can be challenging to secure them. So you have that OS level that you have to be thinking of as well, and there's just extra thoughts to be thinking about when it comes to securing your environment. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this. I do think that containers have their place, just like I think hypervisors have their place. I just don't think they should be heavily used in an educational setting, mostly due to the resource requirement on people's systems in order to run stuff. So at least a lot of the cost is removed, a lot of the licensing, because there are many open source containerization programs, and it's something good that the learning on containers does transfer over into the workforce. So into more jobs than a hypervisor would. So I think we're heading in the right direction, but I don't think we'll have too many videos with containers. Maybe we'll throw a few in this. Anyway, we'll talk to you in the next one. Have a good day.